Hello there, beautiful souls. Welcome back into the Genuine Room. I'm your host, Rachel, and I'm so excited that you've tuned back in once again to be enriched with another spiritual topic. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about today's topic. Alright, welcome back. If you're a returning viewer, so excited that you have tuned back in. If you are a first timer, welcome. Really excited that you are now part of the Genuine Room family. And on this channel, if you are new or you're old, I always bring to you all some inspiring wisdom filled with healing techniques, spiritual concepts, and just any enriching topic that helps you on the self-development journey as we navigate together to become the highest version of ourselves, no matter where we are in our journey. And collectively, we all have similar paths, yet very different. So my goal and mission is really to bring to you all inspiring wisdom filled with truth, enlightenment, and just so that you could, become the best version of yourself and be encouraged on this journey. Because how important it is to be encouraged while, there's so many spiritual attacks that one really goes through and faces on this journey, whether it's if you're really trying to work on your sobriety, trying to achieve the things you want to do in life. And also our main priority that we try to do is work on ourselves and our development so we become the best version of ourselves. So today this video is really to bring about the truth, and how the truth is really one of those essence that helps us stay focused and helps us be enlightened in a way that eliminates all confusion, all doubt, that helps us release blockages. I really think apart from us working with our patterns, apart from us really working with tools and the manifestation techniques that we do, or involve ourselves with community or groups and people and mentors that can help us, just like with this channel as well, we recognize that it is the truth that ultimately sets us free. And without the truth, we tend to notice we're blocked. We live in shadow that causes us to see it from a distorted lens. That is not the truth. So today I wanted to bring to you all, actually I've been trying to make this video for a while now, but I always mention this, that I myself go through periods of working with my own journey, and trying to heal and trying to release those blockages and patterns that come in my journey, and I have to deal with them. So thank you so much for bearing with me while I bring to you all those topics. So today the truth. So this video is going to be promoting the truth, whatever that is in your life. And many of the times we have, from externally as well, have been made to think how we are the product of all our mistakes. We are the reason for, if we go through experiences that weren't particularly nice, or we don't know any better, right? Because we don't know. We're human, and so we don't know our worth. There is a variety of different kinds of individuals that are different, that go through their journey in different forms, and who have experiences that are different. Now as well, we know that there is spiritually awakened people, and there's also those people that are not awakened. And some of them are kind of in the middle where they are awakened, and some of them are confused and lost. And so it's really important for us to stay connected with the truth, with the actuality of situations, once we tend to go within, taking the time to go within as we are on this quest in our journey, recognizing that it's always time, that we should take out during our day to avoid and eliminate ourselves from all distractions so that we can connect with our personal truth, not just what I'm telling you, not just the wisdom out there, not just what your mentor is telling you, but you, your path, your journey, your destiny, your purpose, your calling is so important. And everybody's calling and journey and destiny, it's very different, and we must pay attention to what's out there, but also recognize ultimately we have the answers that are within. So just to give you a background that will go in this video, is that, I come from a background where I've experienced hardships, I've experienced not very nice memories, I've dealt with toxicity, I've dealt with, the participation of consumptions that weren't necessarily healthy. That's because I had to deal with the suffering that I had to deal with, whether it's the unworthiness, whether it's certain experiences that I had to go through to get to where I am today, or it was a part of my journey so I could learn, experience, outgrow, evolve, and ultimately hit rock bottom so I could then, awaken this purpose that I'm supposed to be, which is to help others, to heal on my own so that I can help others as well with their journeys. And one thing I do recognize is that, it's different when someone hasn't gone through the things. It makes it difficult to understand those people that suffer in addiction or have those patterns that were toxic and stuff like that, right? Or whether part of my background was interacting with other lost individuals that were dabbling with unhealthiness, were going through experiences that were traumatic, or going through abusive relationships that were really a reflection of your own self-worth, of what one would actually think about themselves, because it's part of that experience, right? And apart from just those toxic kind of unhealthy consumptions, whether it's substance abuse, or sexual wounds, or just in general, any kind of experiences like that, it's also experiences that you interact with, right? Whether it's codependency, of those kinds of experiences, right? Codependency within relationships, codependency with friends that tend to not be really good role models, or just in general good people to even hang around with. But then again, the truth is I was interacting with that. That's the truth. We tend to forget when we look at our experiences. We always, it's easier to point fingers at the other party or that experience that you had to go through, or family dynamics that aren't so healthy, right? And it's easier to point fingers at what we went through and what it is, versus turning around thinking and really checking in to the truth and the fact is that you played a part in it, right? You were at one point dealing with it. You had a lot to do with that experience. And so it's important to always ground ourselves with recognizing and checking in, because many of the times we notice that those patterns can still play out even when we are on this spiritual journey, even when we are developing, when we're growing. Those patterns can be so subtle and so ingrained deeply in us that it leaves those marks, right? It leaves those those traces and those patterns and blockages that later down the road, even after 5 years of an amazing self-development journey that I've been on after I hit rock bottom, or my first major spiritual awakening that I had, which is 5 years ago, back in 2019, I noticed that this year I had to wake up to another spiritual awakening to see there are still blockages and patterns that are stuck within me as a soul and as a spirit that I'm trying to navigate and deal with, whether it's people-pleasing tendencies, whether it's still choosing people that reflect your unreadiness to play it big, right? Whether it's fear that is overshadowing your journey, whether it's, people-pleasing tendency, or even when you choose individuals, when you're dating or whatever, and you tend to go out there, somehow you notice there's like a similar pattern happening, right? Which is a reflection of codependency or whatnot. And so one of the truths is that recognizing by looking at these things that are playing out in your journey still today, and this is not to kind of feel like, oh, you're a failure, or I'm a failure, or things are not working out. It's really to be honest and recognize that this is letting you know what else do I need to kind of delve deep into, recognizing where you're struggling. What is something, the next healing idea or concept that is coming up, or identity that is causing you to go within again. And patterns can still play out once you even do your next technique or whatnot. It can play out again, and it's just something that you don't have to like freak out that you're messing up, but it's just something that you'll have to sit down and deal with. Because what I've recognized in my journey is that till you don't heal from that blockage, from that pattern, you're always going to struggle, you're always going to bring about go through something similar, or yet another experience that will cause you to check in, and life will give you an opportunity so you can heal. But another truth that I wanted to bring about in this video is many of the times when we go through experiences, right, hardships, or individuals or that we interact with that weren't really pleasant, or were toxic or unhealthy, or even now that when we tend to deal with people or individuals or experiences, for me, what has really come up is that there's still a lot of people out there who are unhealed, and we can really tend to forget that if we are healing, and we are doing the healing work, and we are self-developing, everybody is kind of on their own journey, right? Figuring things out of their patterns, of their things. And there's some of them who are not even doing that. There are some people that are still dabbling with the same kind of nature of toxicity, that it's something that you want to interact with those people that are on your level, or that are willing to do the work, who are honest and things like that. So one of the things that I've recognized is that when we recognize our part in whatever we've done, right? Whether it's, of course, when if we dealt with toxic relationships, unhealthy relationships, or experiences that weren't healthy, were negative, were toxic, we played our part. But I do want to say that there is also that we need to recognize that the other party has also did what they did. So it's important to recognize that while we were dealing with those abusive relationships or whatever, or even experiences, people have done what they have done to us. And it's important to recognize that we are not a reflection of what we've gone through. We are not a reflection of the other party, and we should not take the blame of what we have gone through. We must recognize what our part was, right, in the process, but we must also recognize that other people did do us wrong, that other people did play their part, and it's time to recognize that, you know, there are people that tend to when you were experiencing those things or whatever, tend to make us, you know, feel like we're shameful or we're guilty, and you know, they try to tell you how you would never end up being anything, or now too, if you know, it's easy when you are still working on this healing journey, your mind can play tricks on you by telling you how, you know, you should give up, or how you know, because if you had a lack of confidence when you were dealing with all those things, then it's quite easy to turn around and feel like, you know, everything's my fault still, right? Or you know, kind of feeling like, even, you know, when your intuition is guiding you and letting you know that certain things are still not good, or certain places that you have to walk away from, which don't jive with your spirit, it's easy to really feel like as if, you know, there's still something wrong with you. And I think I've said this before, but it's important to recognize that there are people out there who are bullies. There are people out there who have their fair share of toxic energy that they're still dabbling with, and that has nothing to do with us. So say you're on your journey and there are people coming in your path or come along your path, and they tend to act a certain kind of way or behave a certain kind of way, and if you lack the confidence to recognize that it's not a reflection of you, it's just either a test, or it's just either something that you don't have to deal with, you just have to walk away. This is one of the messages that are coming up for you, to recognize that, you know, it's for you to walk away from a situation, place, event, and with strength, with confidence, to recognize it's not about you. And even those people that did you wrong when you were part of the, you know, one of the greatest wisdom and truth that will support you while you're doing your healing work, if you are, you know, tapping into those patterns and blockages, it's important to recognize that they were people that were mean. They were people that were bullies. They were toxic, unhealthy individuals that were wrong in their nature, you know. And because I know I've gone through things, and even if we did play our part, those people were wrong too. It's okay to point out and look at the scenario and recognize that, you know what, yes, I didn't know any better, but that doesn't mean that that individual or that event or that scenario, that situation wasn't wrong, you know. And so part of you know, the healing wisdom is really to kind of, what's coming up is that, you know, you get to a point and a place when you recognize that the pain does no longer control you. So that's one of the things that you would know when, you know, you're healing, is that it's not that that situation never happened. It's not like that experience didn't, didn't occur, or you didn't interact with those things. It's that you get this sort of confidence of recognizing, I can talk about those things, whether it's like you've been bullied in school before, or whether you've dealt with a very abusive relationship, or whether you've experienced those hardships, or whether you've had codependency relationships, right? It's not like that pain didn't happen or occur, but it's that pain does not hold you anymore. That's what it's, right? It's not like that the pain didn't happen, but it's just that pain doesn't control you. And it's a really beautiful quote by Buddha as well that he's talked about. So another thing to recognize here is that in this process of your healing journey, it's easier to think that you lack the confidence, or your brain can play tricks on you, or when you were going through all of those experiences in your life, whatever it is, right? Because I come from a lot of experiences where it was unhealthy dynamics, abusive relationships. Even in school, I've had mean teachers, so I'm very familiar with that kind of energy. I've had a lot of, dabbling with toxic substances. I had to have my own fair share of struggles of sexual wounds that I had to deal with, right? And in general, experience a lot of toxic energy, negative energy, where people weren't very nice to me. And one of the things that is what I've recognized as I am meditating on these things, right? Because the pain no longer controls me. It's not that the pain didn't occur, it's just that the pain no longer controls you or has that effect on you. And so what these experiences really does is that it tends to make you feel guilty for even things that people have done, right? If you haven't done something, somebody else has done something to you, they've hurt you, or there were these dynamics and these experiences that played out, which the other side has done a great deal of number on you, right? What this experiences leaves you with is making you feel like as if you're the one to be blamed. And this is what I really want to actually emphasize here, is when you go through experiences, you should not feel that shame energy. That's why you notice when, abusers or the children or people that come from abusive relationships or past, they tend to feel so nervous to even complain or talk about it, because one thing, the nature of an abuser really is that it torments you and confuses you and scares you to not talk about it. And it's so weird to me that that's what really that psychological abuse tends to do. Because if you haven't done anything, there's no reason for the person going through it to feel like it's shameful or guilty to express something that they've gone through. But that's what the nature of abuse really is. That's what the nature of toxic things really is, or things you've gone through, that it leaves you feeling like as if you need to be filled with guilt or shame. And so it creates that blockage so that you don't talk about it. You don't bring situations to light to express or talk about things that really is not even a reflection of you. It's an experience, and it's not even something that you've done. So if you've gone through certain things, the abuser or the things that you've gone through, psychological abuse or whatever, tends to leave you feeling like, you can't talk about it. And the truth is, it shouldn't leave you feeling like that, but that's what the nature of dark energy really is. And you'll notice a lot of people tend to be scared or afraid to share, talk, when the truth is, it's something that is within the culture and society and scenarios. It's like, if you haven't done something, you shouldn't be afraid to open up and talk about, right? And this could be anything with anybody with whatever experience one has to go through. So when I've been bullied on, or I've gone through psychological abuse, or I've gone through my fair share of, being manipulated in various scenarios and situations, I wasn't the one doing that to anybody. So how does that make me feel guilty or shameful? It's something I've gone through, and it's something that should be brought to light to encourage others that this is the truth. Once you recognize that if you've had a mean principal or mean teacher who's really done something to you, then there's nothing for you to be afraid of, right? And this is part of the healing. Once you recognize that I don't need to feel shameful about these things, I don't need to feel guilty about those experiences, right? If you've gone through abusive nature of relationship, if you were dating or something like that, then the person doing you wrong should feel guilty and shameful, not the person or the victim going through it. But that's, like I said, that's exactly the very subtle nature of it, right? Because they try to tell you how you shouldn't, that there's, the nature scares you into believing that you can't talk about it, you shouldn't talk about it, you shouldn't share that. And you'll often notice with people that go through major abusive dynamics, that they're always so afraid to share or talk about it, because they're the abuser or the experience or the bully makes them feel like as if they can't talk about it. So you'll even notice this in people that get bullied in schools and stuff like that. The bully often tells them not to talk about it, right? Because they scare them into being like, oh, if you do talk about it or tell somebody about it, I'm gonna hurt you. So the subconscious picks up on that and doesn't let you release that. But it's time to recognize that what you go through as a negative experience is not about you. It's about the experience. It's about the other individual that does that to you, and you don't need to feel shame or guilt. It's time. What universe really wants at this time, or whenever you end up attracting this video, is to recognize that guilt and shame is something that the universe wants you to release, because that is a very, very important part of your healing journey. Is when you are going to be healing, when you are overcoming or gaining that confidence again. If you don't release the guilt and shame of something that you haven't done, it shouldn't make you feel like you can't share, talk, or release it, and you aren't the one to be blamed about, okay? But in the process, making sure that, however you want to do it, whether it's you want to create your own sacred space, whether you want to confide in a group, whether you want to confide in with a therapist or another individual or someone you can trust or feel confident to share that with, that would be really ideal for you. But this is what the universe is really calling you at this time, is that one of the things, those bondage chains in your healing journey should really be emphasized on you releasing that. And another message that is coming up is that when you are interacting now, going forward, right, you are confronting your shadow, you are looking at situations as for what it really is. It's not a reflection of you, it's something that you had experienced in your lifetime. And I'm sure there must be a very good reason, whether it's for you to learn, to experience, to grow, whether it's for you to, go down, lay it down in your years and deal with a pattern that is not even of your own. It could be passed down. It could be something within your culture that had to, you had to kind of come across with, because there are a lot of things that I had to go through, and, I have to check in to be like, why? Maybe it's part of my purpose. Maybe it's part of me to learn, grow, experience. And one of the things is recognizing the very horrific energies of shame and guilt that come along with that, and also that dampens your confidence level. So universe wants you to check that in at this time, whatever that is. You can also use the comments down below, and you can share that if you like with whatever it really is. If you've gone through relationship dynamics, whether when you were dating or dealing with relationships, and it tended to turn out to be not the best for you, it's not a reflection of you. Like I said, this whole world is going through a massive healing, and everything is not about us. It's about those dark negative energies that are in this world, attacking individuals, and it's really a spiritual warfare that is happening that is huge. Many people are stubborn and they're stuck, and so they have their own fair share of struggles to go through. So when you are on this healing path, don't be mistaken a fool that other people are still left to really go through the healing process, or maybe they never will. But one of the things that you have to do is not point fingers at the other person. It's really checking in that, am I still dabbling with shame or guilt? Am I not knowing my worth? Or am I still lacking confidence to see people, scenarios, situation, and experiences for what they really are, so you're not in this confused bubble of thinking that something's wrong with you, or what you have gone through, what you've experienced is not a reflection of you. It's just something you had to go through, and now it's time for you to release that. Okay, this will be a major important message for you to incorporate in this healing process, right? And part of it is really forgiving those people, like I said, if you can, forgiving yourself as well, right? Many of the times the shame, guilt, these are the things, these energies tend to stick to us really deeply. Is when we're not forgiving ourselves for what we have gone through, what we have experienced, and then we can also choose to, when pain doesn't control us or doesn't have that effect on us anymore, we automatically tend to give other people grace as well. When we give ourselves grace to recognize that, we weren't the bullies. We weren't the people that have gone around telling somebody to bully us, right? We haven't gone around telling somebody to abuse us. We haven't, created alcohol, or we haven't, created porn. We haven't done those things that, even if we have tended to kind of dabble or stumble into those unworthy things, we aren't the ones to be blamed. It's just what's in the culture. It's just what we ended up attracting. And it's time for us to forgive ourselves so that we can move forward, so we can see what those things really are, and once and for all, heal and recognize. And when we do that, we do attract that wisdom. And release those bondages of guilt and shame and pain and hurt and confusion, because these are the things that tend to keep us in a lower energy, and cause us to not really be free. Okay, so these are weights that are weighing us down. These are weights that are pulling on our energy and our life force, that don't let us live freely, right? And kind of our shadow plays in, kind of our shadow makes us want to overthink when we are still not dealing with the truth, which is we are not the ones to be blamed. Okay, we can check that in with our higher self. We can check that in with our creator, that, you know, they can bring to us those healing energies so we can be healed, so we can evolve, we can let go, we can release. These are such important energies, or healing dynamics, or healing, you know, when we do those things, when we heal, when we release, we let go, these ways can really free us, right? So we can move forward versus still being in this healing journey and playing out these patterns again and again and again, because we're not truly letting ourselves go. We're not releasing that guilt and shame, which we shouldn't. You know, we probably have disappointed a lot of people, maybe family members, maybe parents, that tend to make us feel, when we go through these things, right? People are quick to kind of point fingers on us or let us know how not so great we've been, or the people generally we were interacting with tend to intentionally hurt us or unintentionally do that. And when we're young, we don't know any better. Well, we're not young anymore, right? When you grow up, you know better of how, you know, you're not the one to be blamed. Unless you are still dealing with the same thing, then it's something to check in, like, okay, you know, at this point of being a grown adult, if I'm still doing something, then of course, you know, I need to check in and really need to work on that and not do the same thing. If you have ugly habits, right? If you're dealing with addictions or anything like that. But if you're not doing that, you've gone through it and you're really healing, really working on yourself, then technically it's just the guilt and shame that's still holding you in this toxic cycle of feeling that you're less than off, feeling that you're unworthy. Because if you're not doing that currently right now, then feeling unworthy or feeling like you're wrong for even experiencing something like that is something that you need to be released, right? That you need to release. So to wrap this up, really, is, you know, using your techniques, your healing techniques, whether it's praying, whether it's creating that sacred space. This will all help you raise that vibration of yours, and recognize that you are the main character in your own story, not in anybody else's story. So it's very important to put yourself first. It's very important to know your worth, to not take anything that is less than what you deserve. Because, you know, when you come from experiences that weren't so pleasant, that weren't, you know, the best, it's easy to feel like, you know, you may struggle with recognizing your worth, but know that you are an empowered individual. Your yesterday, your past doesn't define who you are, and it's important to check in with that, right? That's your higher self bringing this message to you, helping you get attracted to this message, so that you know your worth is your life ahead. Your worth is really you being an empowered individual by breaking these bondages. You being an empowered individual, that you've gone through these experiences and you've risen like a phoenix, right, from those dead ashes. Once a phoenix dies, his body turns into ashes, and then it rises into a stronger phoenix. Or you're soaring high like an eagle, when an eagle tends to kind of get weak with its claws or its beak. It'll go up really high altitudes and go to high level of mountains and work on itself. So by you know, taking its beak and hitting it against the mountain or the tree or whatever, so that a new beak can be brought in, right? Or the claws, like it'll kind of break its claws so that the new ones can come out. Or like a snake sheds its skin so that there's a new skin that can come up. So it's important to recognize that the healing things that you can do is really releasing, really checking in that you don't have to feel guilt and shame for things that you've gone through. This is the message that your highest self, the universe, really wants to bring to you right now, which is knowing your worth, just praying, being compassionate. This is the truth, the wisdom, and the knowledge, is that you are not a definition of what you go through, but a definition of how you rise, how you overcome those things, the wisdom, the knowledge that you gain, and kind of knowing your worth so that you don't dabble and deal with these things again, right? And recognizing that your life purpose and path is so important to do well, to live empowered, to work on your self-development so you can unlock your vision, so you can unlock your path to walk at its highest version, right? And yeah, sometimes you go through experiences where you still are faced with tests and challenges, trials and tribulations, whether it's your brain making you overthink, or you walk into a situation where it's not worth you being in there, right? Whether it's you may put yourself out there in dating scenarios and you tend to recognize that when you deal with another individual, it's not about you, right? There are certain things that are about other people. Other people are also dealing with their own things, so don't confuse that with yourself and think something's wrong with you, or if you go and you're trying to involve yourself in rooms and scenarios and gatherings, and it just tends to not be something that you feel infused with those positive energies, then knowing and recognizing that it's not about you is just probably a setting that's not meant for you, okay? So that's something that you should really check in with as well, to recognize that you need to start. What message I'm really getting for you is that building on this confidence for yourself. When you are confident, you know your worth, you've gained all this wisdom and knowledge, then there's no reason to second guess and overthink and feel bad if you come across something that you wanted to do, you wanted to interact with. It's just not working, it's not on you, okay? So alright guys, that was it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really hoping that you were able to connect with the message that the universe wants to bring to you at this point. Your creator wants you to release, give that shame and guilt and your experience that you've gone through, to release that, because that's really weighing heavy on your life force, on your energy, and release once and for all, so you can heal, evolve, and live on this path of being the highest version of yourself, right? And don't take me wrong, once you even check in, or with yourself, or your higher self, or the Lord, or your creator, you may tend to notice patterns that still play out, and that's okay. That's part of strengthening it. Every time you see a pattern, every time you see that guilt and shame that may come up, you can always pray, you can always do one of your healing techniques, right? Being compassionate, giving yourself a day off, taking care of yourself, doing all the self-care techniques, journaling. These are all important things that you can do to help yourself and or create that sacred space, whatever you need to do. So I'm wishing you all the very best. If you haven't liked my video already, do like it, share it with someone you may know that may benefit from this video at this time. Do subscribe, comment, leave your comments, let me know what was something that was highly resonating for you. If there's something that you want to talk about, want me to share a light and inspiration on, do leave your comments on that as well. I will love to read them. And you can always donate to this channel as well by, there's a thanks button down below, so you can always do that if you love the work that I do or the inspiring wisdom that I bring to you all to help you on this journey. This channel will benefit from that. And there's also donations to other charitable causes that I also sponsor in this channel with. So do check that out. And there's some membership videos that you can also become a member of this channel and check those out as well. Until then, my friends, I'm wishing you all the very best on this journey so that you can become the best version of yourself by living the life that you truly deserve. Until then, my friends, I'll be back with another video to help you on this journey. Take care and God bless.